The great judgment is upon us. The great division is crystal clear. To the awake, welcome, light warrior. To the woke, welcome to your recruitment and to your initiation. To the completely asleep, great. Greenhorns aren't MK'd. It'll be easier for you to receive insight and wisdom. The channel is created through peace, love, forgiveness, and compassion. To the trolls, you're also welcome. It'll be an uncomfortable experience unless you're trolling with the intention to learn something. For the light will always illuminate the dark. Cheers to hoping you'll realize you've been rooting for the wrong team. The great shift is upon us. We're not the same people we once were. The tolerable has become intolerable. The silenced are seeking the truth and finding their voices. Picking and choosing daily battles are no longer choices, but a means to survival. The initiation is about reclaiming the power of our voices, realizing some situations no longer deserve our time, energy, and focus. Welcome to Face Your Fears, Claim Your Destiny Soul Therapy. My name is Sarah, and I will be your host. Please like, share, and subscribe. Welcome to the Soul Family. Okay, we have another song for you. It's by Supertramp, Roger Hodgson and Rick Davis, and it was written in 1979. So, the logical song. I'm going to try not to sing this. I'm sorry. I love this song, so let's see how well I do, and then we'll discuss the questions that I wrote down. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical. And all the birds in the trees, they'd be singing so happily, joyfully, playfully, watching me. But then they sent me away to teach me how to be sensible, logical, responsible, practical. And they showed me a world where I could be so dependable, clinical, intellectual, and cynical. There are times when all the world's asleep, the questions run too deep. For such a simple man, won't you please tell me what we've learned? I know it sounds absurd, but please tell me who I am. Now watch what you say, or they'll be calling you a radical, liberal, fanatical, criminal. Won't you sign your name? We like to feel you're acceptable, respectable, presentable, a vegetable. At night, when all the world's asleep, the questions run so deep. For such a simple man, won't you please tell me what we've learned? I know it sounds absurd, but please tell me who I am. Very pretty deep, if you ask me, right? So let's go to my questions I have here. I should just have this handy, but no, that would be too easy. Okay. So here we go. Okay. Number 1. Choose from the song lyric one word that you think is important to the song's message. Give your reasons for choosing the word. Okay, what's word? Okay, so what was the question? Choose from the song lyric one word that you think is important to the song's message. Give your reasons for choosing the word. Important to the song's message. One word. Wow. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical. And all the birds in the trees, they'd be singing so happily, joyfully, playfully watching me. But then they sent me away to teach me how to be sensible, logical, responsible, practical. And they show me a world where I could be so dependable, clinical, intellectual, cynical. There are times when all the world's asleep, the questions run so deep. For such a simple man, won't you please tell me what we've learned? I know it seems absurd, but please tell me who I am. Now watch what you say, or they'll be calling you a radical, liberal. criminal, won't you sign your name? We'd like to feel you're acceptable, respectable, presentable, vegetable at night. When world's asleep, the questions run so deep for some. Tell me what we've learned. I know it sounds absurd, but please tell me who I am. They. The word that stands out to me is they. They sent me away to teach me how to be sensible, logical, responsible, practical. And they showed me a world where I could be dependable, clinical, intellectual, cynical. Where else is they? Now watch what you say, or they'll, which is also a they, be calling you radical, liberal, fanatical, criminal. Yeah, they. That's the word I choose. And the reasons why is because it's showing that it's like mind control. Somebody else is calling the shots in this person's life and giving them no control of their life. They. The they is the expectations of us, which suppresses us from actually exercising our rights to be our authentic selves. That's my reason. What questions remain unanswered for the speaker? How should he go about finding an answer to each question? Okay, questions that are unanswered. Let's see. Let's go through here quick. Won't you please tell me what we've learned? That's a question. Won't you sign your name? That's a question. Won't you please tell me what we've learned? Please tell me who I am. What questions remain unanswered? Who am I? What have I learned? Who am I and what have I learned? That's the questions that remain unanswered. Who am I and what have I learned? How should he go about finding an answer to meditation? Who am I and what have I learned? You go inside into your inner self. Meditation is about like listening to your inner voice, listening to your intuition. That's where you seek the answers. That's exactly where you seek the answers. What was life like for the speaker when he was younger? What is life like for him during his years of schooling? Okay, so when he was younger, life was wonderful, a miracle, beautiful, magical. The birds and the trees were singing so happily, joyfully, playfully, and they were watching him. Okay, so that was the only time he was free. Totally free. Right? So when he was younger, he was free. In his years in schooling, he was suppressed. He didn't know who he was. When he was younger, he understood life. And after being institutionalized through the propaganda in school, he was lost. So I think the lesson is go back to your roots, go back to simplicity, go back to what makes sense. This is truly 100% the difference between the 3D world, 3-dimensional thinking, and 5-dimensional thinking. Because in the beginning, he wasn't in the matrix. When he entered school, he was. In the beginning, he was in the 5 dimension. When he entered school, they suppressed him to the 3rd dimension. The Great Awakening, he was suppressed, like so many of our children are. Through all the mind control in the education system and propaganda, it's like Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall, which I will cover, but not today. So I'm going to quickly, in the beginning, he was in the 5D world. And then he got sucked down into the matrix, the 3D world. So let's say it again. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical. And all the birds in the trees, they'd be singing so happily, joyfully, playfully, watching me. Right there, that is the 5D world. That is true bliss. That's euphoria. That's nirvana. That's where we can all be with our minds, right? Until we get bombarded with stuff that really doesn't matter. In the beginning of the song, this person knew who they were. By the end, after having so many things pumped into their brain, they had no clue who they were. And it is so sad, right? Okay. What was life like for him during his years of schooling? Confusing. He was herded. He was controlled, right? So let's go. But then they sent me away to teach me how to be sensible. So they is his parents. But then they sent me away to school, right? To be sensible, logical, responsible, practical, which took, okay, so if you think about 1, 2, 3, that's 4 words, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle, beautiful, magical. 4 words: wonderful, miracle, beautiful, magical. And then they wanted to replace the wonder, the miracle, the beauty, and the magic with being sensible, logical, responsible, practical. So they beat I would say the God gene, or, that connection to source gene was disconnected in order to be reprogrammed the way society wants us to be, right? And they showed me a world where I could be dependable, clinical, intellectual, cynical. So basically, wonderful, miracle, beautiful, magical. Sorry. That's how the person's life was. And the wonderful, miracle, beautiful, magical was replaced with sensible, logical, responsible, practical, dependable, clinical, intellectual, cynical. There are times when all the world's asleep, the questions run too deep. See, when nobody's nattering in his head or her head, that's when they're able to go back to that young, wonderful, miracle, beautiful, magical feeling, because they're free with their own thoughts. It's the only time this person was free with their own thoughts, right? And they were able to think. And it says, there are times when all the world's asleep, the questions run too deep for such a simple man. So his life was simple, and he was institutionalized through the education system, and it just complicated everything, right? It caused pressure, depression, anxiety, confusion, when he had everything understood as a toddler, right? Won't you please tell me what we've learned? I know it sounds absurd, but please tell me who I am. Right? What did I learn? Nothing. I just learned how to be a better MDS, modern day slave. I'm going to use that nonstop. MDS. That's what this person was taken from, a simple life of tranquility, liberation, and was converted into an MDS, and they knew that something was wrong with this, right? They knew they were being transformed into a modern day slave. And the only time they felt free was before being through. Because really, when you go into school, that's when you first enter the matrix, right? Before school, you're not in the matrix yet. Except for maybe nowadays with all the computer and kids are really on computers way too young, in my opinion, but whatever. Yeah. Basically, they learned more before they were institutionalized through the education system. That's my opinion. What pressures does the speaker feel most as a young adult? Does the song present an exaggerated or realistic picture of growing up? Okay, what pressures does the speaker feel most as a young adult? Pressures of not knowing who they are. Not what they feel like they've learned nothing and they don't know who they are, right? Does the song present an exaggerated or realistic picture of growing up? Well, it's totally realistic, but I don't agree with it. And that's why I say the education system needs to be destructed and recreated because it's harmful. I don't see any positive things going on. And like, seriously, if I had a young kid nowadays, they would not be in school. I would be homeschooling them 100%. With all the crap that's coming out in the news, yeah, no. No, thank you. But please comment. It says, write a poem in which you define who you are. Okay, well, there we go. This is the poem that got me to Vegas, right, for the competition. This one was on an audio CD, I believe. I wrote this in 2006. This poem describes exactly who I am. The title of this poem is, I Cannot Eat Money. I cannot eat money. Accept the truth that we cannot eat money, for this is the day you discover life's meaning. Imagine today the very last fish has been caught. Imagine today the last river has turned to poison. Imagine today the last tree standing has fallen. Imagine today is the day when your body becomes cold and hungry. Imagine today your last hope to eat is by the hand of an enemy. Imagine today you realize what you are. What I am, I am. I cannot eat money. That's my poem. Okay, so like the last couple ones, we're going to read this one last time before I let you go. And then I highly suggest Googling or YouTubing, looking up Supertramp, the logical song. It's so good because as soon as I'm done this, I'm cranking it because YouTube won't let me play it, right? I'll get striked. The logical song. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical. And all the birds in the trees, they'd be singing so happily, joyfully, playfully watching me. But then they sent me away to teach me how to be sensible, logical, responsible, practical. And they showed me a world where I could be so dependable, clinical, intellectual, cynical. There are times when all the world's asleep, the questions run too deep for such a simple man. Won't you please tell me what we've learned? I know it sounds absurd, but please tell me who I am. Now watch what you say, or they'll be calling you a radical, liberal, fanatical, criminal. Won't you sign your name? We like to feel you're acceptable, respectable, presentable, a vegetable. At night, when all the world's asleep, the questions run so deep. For such a simple man, won't you please tell me what we've learned? I know it sounds absurd, but please tell me who I am. All right, lights, thank you for chiming in. And I hope you have a fantastic morning, evening, night, wherever you're in the world. I'm sending you light. I'm sending you love. And I hope something just so amazing and miraculous happens in your day-to-day to remind you that life is wonderful, a miracle, beautiful, and magical. Thanks for chiming in. If you like this, put the thumbs up, subscribe, but most importantly, I really want you to comment. I really want to know how you feel about these songs. All right. Take care. Love, light, peace, forgiveness, compassion. Be kind. Reach out to your neighbors. It's time. It's time for love. It's time for that love vibration. We got it. We have to. We have to. It's time. Okay. Bye.